5 things to keep in mind when it comes to tests and procedures. In this video, I'll talk about why it is so important to ask the why before agreeing to medical tests or procedures. What key questions you should ask your doctor about recommended tests? How can you ensure a test or procedure is necessary for your health? And finally, what are the risks of blindly following medical advice? So let's begin. Why is it important to ask the why before agreeing to medical tests or procedures? Well, you got to understand that the assumption that your doctor knows most is a good idea, but it's not necessarily always the case. When it comes to a lot of procedures that are being done, I mean, if it's a simple thing, like if it's maybe a fracture is expected or is suspected, then we can go ahead and x-ray. Or if there's a disc issue, sure. But there are a lot of procedures that are, at least from my perspective, that I see are being done on the patient that clearly identifies the provider did not have a clue what was going on and was hoping something was going to show up. And a lot of times things do show up, but they don't necessarily are related to the actual issue that the person comes in with. It's just a side discovery. So that you ask the why because you, for one, you're educating yourself. You're not questioning your provider. You're just trying to understand the why behind the recommended procedure. So what key questions you should ask your doctor about recommended tests? You want to know, for example, well, what are we looking for? How will this impact my treatment plan? And what are the alternatives? Because at the end of the day, like at least for me, when it comes to ordering, let's say studies, or when a patient asks me, well, can you order X, Y, and Z? I always question myself, what is this piece of information going to provide me with? How is that piece of information going to change how I'm treating my patients? And what if in worst case scenario, if I'm treating this patient with this worst case scenario, how off or how different is that treatment from the alternative? Many times when it comes to your joints, movements, posture, things like that, there's not that much of a difference, with the exception of hypermobility. So you gotta just ask the question, educate yourself. At the end of the day, you are your own advocate. The next question is, how can you ensure a test or procedure is necessary for your health? They will ask for the risk and benefit. If something doesn't feel right, don't hesitate to get a second opinion. That makes a huge difference. It is okay, and you can't put your health in the hands of anyone else. You can have trust in the person, but you, at the same time, you should educate yourself in what to expect and what is going on. What are the risks of blindly following medical advice? Well, there are a lot of them, like unnecessary expenses, the stress that goes with them, complications, and essentially being informed protects you. How do you advocate for yourself in medical settings? You need to be prepared. You need to ask questions and voice your concerns. There are patients that I see often when it breaks my heart when they've gone through so much. I mean, we're talking about things that really don't leave much grace for them. And they come back with I mean, honestly, no value. There are a lot of tests we can do. There are different procedures we can perform, but are they all necessary? That's the question you want to ask. The reason I did this video is because last week I saw way too many people with procedures that were fully unnecessary. It was so obvious to me, but of course it was not to them. So make sure that you understand you are not questioning your provider. You're questioning the procedures and what is being advised for the sake of you understanding it. This is the only way. You take interest in what is happening to you. You take interest in understanding how to be. And that, I promise you, is the goal of your provider as well. I hope that you found value in this. Make sure you comment and like and share with someone that can benefit from it. Until next time, take care.